Welcome to another trip back into football's video scrapbook. This week, Mick Channon and Alan Ball have selected some memorable international clashes between England and Scotland.
Francis again. Oh, he's shaken off Jardine there. And that's a good shot. Oh, it's there! Jerry Francis! Oh, Jerry Francis, a beautiful goal! And Jordan's got past him. Todd really coming back hard. And still he got it in there to Kenny Dalglish. Could be very interesting. Saved out! Between his legs, a goal!
They want to go to war with you all the time, don't they? They absolutely hate us, don't they? Consequently, we used to give them so many idens and that, and they'd come back and they'd beat us. It was like when they beat us with that one through Clement's legs. I can never forget that. I mean, that's probably the blackest day in my life when I knew they were doing it. They scored with a ball trickled through his legs and they did a lap of honour, you know that. They beat England. I mean, I remember going in the dressing room and thinking, those bastards are doing a lap of honour, you know. They're a great... I mean, you can't keep them down. I mean, they're unbelievable. They're an unbelievable race of people, and they love their football. I mean, I admire them for their dedication, their will, their fighting spirit. You know, they don't think they can be beaten.
The one thing above all other they like doing is beating England, isn't it, Alan?
At anything. At anything. It's not just football. That's right. Oh, they're good at that.
They've got an inferiority complex about the English. And I must admit, I've stood for me country all over the world for the national anthem. But nowhere like the animosity you get when you stand at Hampden Park with them jocks. Because they want to beat you so bad, it is frightening.
I always remember when the first time I went there and getting off the coach and that, and like everyone was shouting abuse and that, you know what I mean? And I always remember somebody shouting, "Remember Bannockburn." And I said, "What happened to Bannockburn?" You know?
They beat the English.
I didn't know.
Anything to do with beating England, they are fanatical.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what they beat us at.
They've got an inferiority complex, unfortunately for them. But they want to beat England so bad.
I've got a great thing about it. I mean, I don't think they'll ever win the World Cup, Scotland. I think they need... I mean, they've got so much passion and so much pride, I think they beat themselves. I think that... But having said that, I think they've got some great players, and I think it's been proved when they've come down to play in England, and two or three of them have gone into an English side, or several English players. It could be some Welsh players. But then they become very good players. I just don't think they've got enough discipline. I think their passion gets them... I mean, they beat themselves because they got so much pride, so much will to win. They beat themselves.
You know, they're my type of people, they're my type of players. I mean, some of my best friends in football, you know, are Scottish people, and I get on great with them. I love them in your team, I love them alongside you, but get them together against England, and that's something else.
Well, England certainly couldn't have done any better than that 5-0 win at Hampden back in 1973.
Trying a long one towards Martin Chivers. Back now with Bell once more. Crossed in there. Clark is right in there. So too is Channon. And it's a deflection and it's a goal. Coming off Peter Lorimer. While Morgan still struggling and feeling the effects of that injury. And now a long up and under, sending England away once more. And Clark has put it in. And that is number 2 for England. The Scots have been saying for the last 2 or 3 days that if they hadn't got themselves involved in the brawl with England here last May, they could have won with skill. They must win with skill tonight. They've left themselves with a lot to do, and it's another one. Peters Clark taking quite a thump in the backbone for Forsyth, and Cahoon in trouble, and there's the goal by Martin Chivers. Up and under again. Will have caused such damage there for Scotland, and Clark getting in on this one. And there it is, number 5, Alan Clark.
It was an icy night. It was very difficult conditions, but on the night we played some superb football and we give them a pasting. And it was lovely because it was a celebration, supposed to be their centenary game, and that England side played some fantastic football, and it was one of those nights a little covering of snow, I think, on the pitch, and I can remember the tangerine ball, you know?
That's right.
And we gave them a thumping, and it was marvellous. The ground was empty, about 10 minutes to go.
And apparently there was due to be a big banquet afterwards, wasn't there? And...
Oh, there was a reception, yeah. We were the only ones who turned up. You can't beat them.
No.
You know, I always remember going back the next day. You know, we got off the plane and got to the ground to the Dell about sort of 12 o'clock, and the lads were just finishing training. And Jim Steele and Eric Martin are walking out, and they said, "Hey, but we beat you in the gym this morning." And that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
You can't beat them because they're always looking for the next thing. You know, I mean, I think that's why we got so much pleasure out of it, because they're so easy to wind up as well. I mean, they had a bad night. I mean, they didn't play at all, and I mean that's the satisfaction you get when you play the Scots. I mean, we've gone up there, and as Bawley said, you know, they were gonna murder us. They had far more skill than us. And it ended up we probably should have won bloody 7 or 8 or 9, you know.
How much did the pitch have to do with it? It was pretty frosty, or was it just they...
Well, that's right, but they're the ones who were doing all the shouting, saying that they got so much skill they were going to beat us, but we probably adapted far better. We turned them round a bit. They had Big Calhoun at the back and Tam Forsyth and, you know, Willie Donegan. None of them had a lot of pace. And we had Martin Chivers, Clarkey and myself, and we had a bit of pace, you know. Really, we done the right thing in the conditions. We turned them around, and well, as you can see, you know, we should have won.
And yet, Alan, a young Peter Shilton made a couple of good stops there, and didn't he look young in those days?
That's right. You know, that was his...
So did I, didn't I?
I think we were all young in them days. But that, the saves he made, I mean, that was him. When you needed, he kept you in the game, or, you know, kept things going for you. But if you look at the goals, on the night, the pitch was horrendous. But we adapted better, and there wasn't a good goal as such. There was mistakes.
First one was a good goal.
You know, there was mistakes.
Peter Lorimer rifled it in the top corner.
And the England lads, with the pace and the strength up front, as Mick said, you know, Big Chiv himself, you know, front-running lads, do we give them an awful time? And it could have been 10 and something like that. I'd have been lovely if it would have been. But, you know, on the night, 5 was enough.
Bit of a nightmare, though, for the Scottish defenders and their goalkeeper, who had a very unhappy night, didn't he?
Yeah, they didn't adapt at all. I mean, I think they just read what the press was saying about them, how much better than us they were, and this, that, and they just went on the pitch and we took them apart.
In 1976, it was a different story when England lost thanks to a ghastly goalkeeping error by Ray Clements.
Gemmell. And a good interception there by Roy McFarlane. A gap opening up ahead of him. Taylor away on the left. Here's Peter Taylor. Played nicely there. Look at McFarlane's run here. And a chance to cross it in again towards Channon. Goal! Jackson up there, number 5. Number 8, Don Masson, Eddie Gray with his corner. Floated in once more. And it's there! Scored by Masson! And it's Donaghy. Long ball forward there, McFarlane versus Joe Jordan, and Jordan's got past him. Todd really coming back hard, and still he got it in there to Kenny Dalglish. Could be very interesting. Saved now! Between his legs a goal!
Mick, 1976, Scotland 2, England 1. You scored, but the thing you'll always remember, I think, was the goal through Ray Clements' legs.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and I'll never forget Clem for that. I mean, it's almost unforgivable. It was a trickle through his legs, and what bugged me most, they did a lap of honour, you know. Can you believe it? They did a lap of honour. I always remember something else about that game. I got a half breakaway from the halfway line on after that go, actually. And I was more or less clean through, except obviously I had a load of defenders chasing me. And I always remember Big Tam Forsyth, they used to call him, didn't they? I mean, he's just had a lunge at me, and he's got a foot to it, and he's whipped the ball away, and the crowd went mad, you know. And it was only a couple of years ago, you know. I remember I was racing up in Scotland. I think it was at Ayr, and you know, there's this fellow walking by me, and he says, "Remember Tam Forsyth?" They remember that tackle for about 10, 15 years. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, yeah. I said, as it happens, I did. It stuck in my mind. Because that was the chance that we probably had, one chance we had to get back after that trickle through Ray Clements' legs, and I was clean through. Tam Forsyth was slow as a block of flats and just about as manoeuvrable, and he got a good tackle in. Fair and square, I hold my hands up. But if, you know, and they still remember that, probably 10, 15 years after.
Well, England were on the receiving end again a year later, this time, though, at Wembley.
So a long throw. Actually, Willie Johnston fooled us all. He's got a very good long throw, as the Irish found on Wednesday. Here's McGrain again. Rioch. Willie Johnston chipping it in, and it's a deep one, but it'll be too deep for Kenny Dalglish. That was a handball by Phil Neal, and he was only a couple of yards outside the area. I've got a feeling it's Trevor Cherry warming up for England on the far side. From this distance, I can't see whether it is Cherry or not, but it looks like him, and there's Ray Clements. Now, he knows he's going to be under a bit of pressure now. Now, can Scotland, just before half-time, nick something here? They already did there! Well, it's in there, whether it was McQueen, I think, who put it there. 1-0 to Scotland, Gordon McQueen. Here's Johnston. There's a goodish cross there towards Bruce Rioch, nodding in again towards Macari. Oh, and Dalglish. And it's there, number 2, Kenny Dalglish. A touch there by Pearson for Francis, and this time it's a penalty for England. Well, here's Mike Channon against Alan Ruff, and that's 2-1.
Oh, we didn't play. We didn't play that time. You know, we didn't play bad the game before when Clements let that through his leg. But we didn't play. They were better than us. I remember them digging the pitch up, though, and, you know, taking the stand away. Not most of the stand, they had souvenirs going back to Scotland like you never seen. Goal posts, bits of the net, everything. Unbelievable.
Took the Queen, didn't they?
Probably, yeah.
Well, after that, Mickey's certainly in need of another thumping England victory. It's coming up right after this break.
British Gas serve up a surprise. Spread your payments with direct debit. It makes bills easier to swallow.
The first petrol to gain the AA seal of approval for its performance has also won the approval of millions of motorists for its quality gifts. Esso, a special kind of animal.
Last year, Halifax Building Society gave more mortgages to more people to buy more homes than anybody else. Because we've now reduced our mortgage rate by 0.75% and have special deals for first-time buyers and those seeking a larger loan, we're hoping to help even more.
Did we get it? Did we get it?
Yeah.
So whatever your mortgage needs, find out how we could help you by calling into your local Halifax branch now.
And welcome back. Time now to recall another England triumph over Scotland, featuring Mick Channon and Alan Ball. This time the year is 1975, and we're at Wembley.
Johnson, Francis, Channon. Francis again. Oh, he's shaken off Jardine there. And that's a good shot. Oh, it's there! Jerry Francis! Oh, Jerry Francis, a beautiful goal. He shook off that Scottish defender, and a rocketing shot with only 5 minutes gone. Francis the scorer, and what a tremendous goal. Dennis.
Oh, this is tremendous move here. He did tremendous. He shook off a couple of defenders, and he let whack. Look at this. What? My God, what a goal. And what a bad start for Scotland.
It's with Alfie Conn now for Scotland. Now Francis, chipping it forward to Ball. Back again to Francis. It'll give England a lot of confidence, that goal. And it's showing there as Keegan takes it up. And Beattie is the only man up with him. Of all people, the fullback. The chip comes in towards Beattie. And it's there again! 2-0! 2 goals in the first 6 minutes. And Kevin Beattie and Kennedy can't believe it. Whether he's knocked himself out or whether he just can't believe the blows that have hit Scotland, I don't know. But that's 2 minutes gone. A great run by Kevin Keegan. And just look how Beattie comes in to win it against Jardine. And again, wide of Stuart Kennedy in that Scottish goal. Ball. Watson. Flick for Bell. A little chip this time for Francis. Ball away on the left for him, so is Beattie. Number 3, Beattie. Francis. Channon. Francis again. Several good passes now by England. Colin Bell. Still with Colin Bell. Oh, number 3 by Bell! Well, what a beautiful passing movement. Short, simple passes there. There's one of them by Channon through to Francis, who'd made the first one. Another one there, slipping in for Keegan. Laid back this time for Bell. Bell going through the challenge of Danny McGrain. The ball filing nicely for him. 3-0 to England.
Brian, that is very... Well, the first 2 goals were bad enough, but I think that one just really more or less seals it, and it's not even half-time yet. Jerry Francis, who was going out of the game, come back there with some tremendous short passing. Colin Bell got the break of the ball, of course, but he made the best of it.
Now Con. Watson missing his kick. McDougall can't get in, and he's given a penalty. A penalty to Scotland. There was a handball there. I think it was probably Watson, or maybe it was Todd. Here's the slow-mo now. Who took, whose handball was it? Not there. Well, if you saw it, you were better than I, but the referee was right there. Rudy Glockner. Jerry Francis having a word with Ray Clements, maybe telling him which side Bruce Rioch will take the penalty, or rather which side he will hit it. Rioch versus Clements. And it's there for Scotland. So what are England going to cook up here? Well, that was neat. Ball, in fact, playing the ball between Bell's legs for Jerry Francis, but the Scottish ball wasn't back 10 yards, and I don't think that'll come off again. Watson away up here on the right in case they should try a long one. Well, they did try it again, and it came off, and it's a goal by Francis. Well, the Scots fell for that twice. It almost came off for England, and the referee called them back because the wall wasn't back 10 yards. You would never have thought they could get away with it again, but they did. There's Francis with the shot. A slight deflection there, in off the post. 4-1 to England. Now it's with Colin Todd. Whitworth. Channon. Taking that in his stride, another free kick. Dave Watson loping up from the rear for this one again. Con, Hutchison and McGrain. Just Hutchison and McGrain in that wall. Played towards the near post. Oh, hit onto the crossbar. And then Watson didn't get it in, and Johnson did. David Johnson.
Little was I to know that it was going to be my last game, but to beat them, I suppose, would be fitting for me to go out on. But we played terrific that day. Jerry Francis just broke into the England team, and Don Revie decided that he was the person that was going to take over my role in the middle of the pitch. I was disappointed because I thought at that particular time I was playing as well as anybody in midfield in the country. I thought I had a lot to offer with my experience, possibly for another couple of seasons, not playing all the time, but just being around the squad. But we played ever so well that day. Keegan was on his game. He was a bundle of tricks up front, and we played ever so well.
They're still looking for the goalkeeper. Does anyone know where he is, by the way? I mean, because he got all the blame, didn't he?
He couldn't do doubt about a couple of them. They were good goals,
right.
well-worked goals, you know.
Well, Scotland have certainly produced many talented footballers over the years, yet they've endured many an embarrassment in the World Cup against some of the smaller nations.
He's shielding the ball with his traditional skill. Out to Hartford. Johnston. Back to Dalglish, laid back to Hartford, through to Ria. Good ball. Ria takes it early, chance for Jordan. Goal! Jordan scores, Scotland 1 up. So Peru on the move. Scotland trying to get possession for a break, which could be very, very useful to them. Good play there by Varaquez. And a chance for Peru. It must be an equaliser, and it is. Guantes. Nice ball by the outside of his foot to Duarte, who keeps supporting him well. Peru still have not given up any hope of winning this match. They're looking very dangerous indeed. Cubalas forcing his way through. Almost a free shot and a goal! What a goal! A very awkward position for Alan Roth to try to gauge that wall to get it right. Cubalas, number 10, might well be the player to watch here. We shall see. Here he comes. Cubalas drives it in, and it's a goal! Well, Cubalas, brilliant third goal for Peru.
Iran growing in confidence as this game goes on, constantly supporting each other. They haven't strung too many attacks together, but in defence, they're not doing a bad job. Scotland are assisting them in that respect. Andy McLeod certainly got a couple of minutes to go to half-time before he starts sorting out what's happening, and there's a goal! Oh! Would you believe it? An enormous mess, a lot of pushing going on. Jordan right in the middle of it. That's got to go down as an own goal, surely. Sorigi. Parveen. Sorigi asking for it back, and there's nobody picking him up. And he's well in behind Scotland. Burns a chance here. The big man, Baraki. Parveen, far post. Jahani, no. Comes down. It's Danny Farr. Lots of pressure from Iran. And he scores! Danny Farr, 1-1.
Mick sums it up well when he says that they beat themselves. Their passion, and they've got an awful lot of individuals that don't seem to be molded into a team.
I don't feel they've got enough team discipline. Now, I mean, they've got brilliant individuals. Some of the, with players we've talked about have been exceptional players. But over the years, I don't think they've got the stability for these individuals to be able to express themselves and win the games for them. And I feel that when they come to England, I think it proves with the likes of your Dalglishes and your Saunases, great players that come into good, solid teams and become real great players. They're not the same players for Scotland. Why?
And what about at management level? Because we all remember Ali McLeod, but apart from Jock Stein, it's difficult to recall a consistent Scottish manager, isn't it?
Well, that's right. There's some great Scottish managers when you think about it, and you go back to Busby and to Shankly and people like that. They've built great teams.
But for their country.
But they've built them on a very sound base. In England, I feel up there the passion and their pride probably is very. It leads them up the wrong road in lots of ways. I feel because they are a very, very talented, soccer nation. I'll tell you what, pound for pound, they've probably got more ability. Than what the English players have.
It's a hungry place, isn't it, Scotland? They want and hungry places always produce footballers, and they'll always produce good footballers because of that. And what I think the strength is their strength and their passion, but it's also their weakness. Their strength is their weakness. And the only thing that bugs me is all these top jobs in England are taken by Scottish managers. And you try and get a job in Scotland as a manager, you've no chance whatsoever.
But the fact is that the two of you have played football around the world, you've travelled everywhere, and obviously England-Scotland is one of the most memorable occasions that any footballer can ever be involved with.
Yep. I'll go along with that.
I've always been in trouble since I said the best thing about Scotland was the road to England.
You got some stick for that, didn't you, Mick?
And I don't think I'll ever live it down, but...
But the lovely thing about them, now that I've finished playing, 99 out of 100, and I mean that sincerely, Scotsmen that I meet, they all started off as, I used to hate you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Spot on.
I used to hate you, only because you're a thorn in our side.
Yeah, you're a threat to them.
You're a threat to them, and if you fought them back, they'd love to see an Englishman cave in. If an Englishman stood up and fought them, you've got their respect for the rest of your life. Yeah. That's the way they are. And, you know, and I love them for that. And as we both said, the important thing, which I think should be said, is that most of our best friends in football have been Scottish people.
And that's it for another week. Mick and Alan have obviously enjoyed telling us a tale or two about their battles against the Scots. From the three of us, it's goodbye.